Hello guys, welcome to our channel once again. So today we are going to talk about a feature of Azure Data Factory which allows you to create a metadata driven ETL. So in what cases it is useful? So suppose you want to create an incremental loading ETL or Azure Data Factory pipelines which can extract data from your source tables and it can load to your destination table. Yes, of course you can design and create an individual pipelines and copy activities for that. However, suppose you are going to load say 20, 30 or maybe hundreds of tables, right? You don't want to create different pipelines and different data sets for those. And on top of that, when you have to create an incremental load, you'll have to do a lot of configuration here and there to provide a ETL pipeline those criteria on which you are going to load your data. So for that reason, Azure Data Factory has given its own way of configuring your ETL or the ADF. So let's quickly jump in and see how you can very quickly develop this ETL pipeline. So first thing we'll do is we'll go to our Azure Data Factory. Wherever you have Azure Data Factory, go to the home and click on this icon which says ingest. Once you click on this, you will see two options. One, it says built-in copy task, and the other one says metadata driven copy task. So let's select this one, and then I have done some work already as a pre-work for this. So you should have an Azure SQL database on which it will actually store a SQL table. So let me first go ahead. I'm not going to use existing link service. Let me create a new fresh one for this. I'll say ADF SQL metadata. Okay, I'll go ahead and select Azure SQL database. Because it's my main subscription, I'll just select it. I'll give my database name. I have a SQL authentication. As of now, I'm giving username and password here, but this is not recommended. You should always keep your password in Azure keyword. But for this demo purpose, I'm just configuring it here. And I see there is some new feature added here which says always encrypted. We'll explore this also in some other video. But for now, let me just test connection and create it. So guys, this video may become little longer because I want to completely explain this step by step. So stay tuned. Let it create. So my link service is created. This is nothing but a link service. If you already have it, you can even use the existing one. And then it says we have to provide a name for our control table. So I'm saying my control table schema is control, and you can give any name. Let's say I say configuration. And it says if you don't have it, it can actually create it. It says create new table, right? Then you can also choose whether you want to do it only once, just like a full load, or you want to schedule it. So I'll say let's say schedule. It will ask me for some parameters. Let it be by default. Okay, let's go ahead. So now I'll go ahead and select the link service I created. Where is it? Okay, it says source type, not the link service, but it is saying source type. So my source is right now Azure SQL database, and the connection, this is the connection which we created, right? So what I'm going to show you here is this is my SQL server in the database. So what I have done is I have created three set of tables, one for source and one for destination. But in your real case, it may not be in the same server or the same database. It may be different, but just for the demo purpose, I have kept it in the same place. You can see my source tables are having a schema as source one, and my destination table, which is exactly the same replica. The schemas are same right now, though it's not a mandatory thing. You can have a different schema as well, but right now it is same. So for each table of the source, I have a destination table. Yeah, this table should not be here. It will be removed because this is from my previous execution. Yeah, it is removed. So right now I have only 3 tables as a source and 3 tables as a destination. So we'll go ahead, and now it is asking us to choose our tables, right? Which are our source table. So from here, I'll select 3 of my table as a source. Is there any other option? Nothing. Okay, nothing more to configure. Yeah. Now this is the important part. I want to configure this for a delta load or the incremental load. I don't want to do a full load every time, right? So I'll say configure for each individual table. Now for each table, we'll have to go and select few things, right? Say for order, I'll say what is my watermark column name. So watermark column name is nothing but the column based on which this ADF will decide whether it has got a new data or not. So one compulsory thing or one mandatory thing you need to have in your tables is some watermark column. If you don't have the dates through which it can identify, then it will not be able to do the incremental loads. So for now, because this is the first run, I am just giving a day which is yesterday. Now I think we can keep everything else as is. Now same way we'll have to configure for other two. So for all the table I have modified date, and start date I'll give yesterday date. Okay, let's see, go next what it asks. Now it is asking us the destination configuration. So our destination could be anything out of all this thing what we are seeing. So what we want here is Azure SQL database. Now here you can see it is asking for the mapping. For this source table, what should be my destination? So I'll choose my destinations dot orders, destinations dot product, destination dot user table. And I see there is an also option to auto create it. So in case you don't have a destination table, it can create it for you. So here you have an option to say skip column mapping, but we'll go there and we'll see what is there. Yeah, so what it has done is it has actually done the auto mapping already based on the schema, because all the columns here and the source and destinations were exactly matching. It has been able to do it. Now you can see all the columns are correctly mapped, but in case you have different names, you can actually map it here. Now let's see other options if we have. Yeah, here we are saying it's not an insert, it should be upsert. So whenever you're saying upsert, it means that it will update the existing rows if there has been any change, and if there is a new rows, it will insert. Now for that, we need to actually tell what is our key column based on which it will identify. So for my orders table, order ID is my key column. I'm a little surprised actually that it's not giving us a drop down. So what I'm doing is I'm just typing it. So rest of the thing will keep it as is. Same thing will repeat for other tables. So for product ID is my primary key. For user table, it's just an ID. So are we done? Yeah. Okay. Let's click on next. Here we can provide some prefix which we want to give it for all our tasks. Let me say metadata copy. Okay. I'll keep everything else as is. Okay. So this is more of your summary, what all things we have done. So it is actually configuring all our scripts. Yeah, so one thing you need to be careful is when I was doing for the first time, I thought it will go ahead and create all the scripts for me. I mean, it will execute and it will create the tables, the control table. But I think that doesn't happen. So what we'll do is we'll have to download this SQL script and we'll have to manually run it. So if you can see here, it has actually created a configuration table and it has also defined all the values which it has to create. And the good part is that it creates everything in a JSON format. Yeah. So you can see it has created a dedicated folder in my pipelines place. So there are 3 pipelines which is being created, and I suppose there must be yeah, some data sets as well. Link service we anyways created it. Now what I'll do is I'll open my uh, script. Okay, so let me show you the script which it has created. You can see it's a create table plus insert. So because we have 3 tables, it has created all those insert accordingly, and everything is JSON. So what I'll do is I'll execute this and then I'll show you how it looks in a table. Let me run. Let me copy the table name. So this is Azure Data Studio I'm using instead of SSMS. So I'm also pretty new for this. So let's see how is the experience. Yeah, so you can see here it has created 3 rows because we have 3 tables. So likewise, if you have 100 tables, it will create 100 entries, right? So what we'll do is before we get into the details of this, we'll quickly run this and see how it whether it is doing our job or not. And before that, what I'll do is I'll show you how is our source table and the destination table. So you can see in my source table for orders, I have 2 rows, but in destination there is nothing. Same thing I have done for other 2 tables as well. So let us go ahead and first execute this. So what I'm doing is I'll execute it from the top level. So it has created 3 pipelines, kind of a loop through top level, middle level, and the bottom level. So I'll start from the top level. I'm not making any changes here. It has taken everything default. This is my control table name. Let it execute. So it is still in progress. I'll let it finish. It would have gone to the middle pipeline. Yes. Okay, something has failed. Let's see. Okay, my activity failed. Okay, so we need to go inside this. It is a final pipeline. So update watermark has failed. Yeah, let's see. Could not find store procedure. Okay, I think what we missed is we should have created the store procedure as well. That is also one of the script which it has downloaded. So let me go ahead and execute that as well. So this is the store procedure. It's a simple store procedure one-liner, but okay, it is doing JSON modification. Execution is done. But before we reload, let us see. It has already copied the data. See, you can see it has already copied the data. So what I'll do is I'll just delete this record so that we can run it fresh. Now nothing. Yeah. Okay, so let us execute it again. Again, we'll go and we'll run it from the top. Yeah, so the second execution has been successful. Now let's go ahead and check whether it has copied the data. So I'm querying my source and destination both. Yeah, yep. You can see now it is identical, exactly same two records, and you'll see the differences here. Create date, modified date. Okay, yeah, this is also same. Now, what I want to do is just to validate whether it is doing incremental load and it's not doing the full copy, or whenever we are inserting a new record, it is actually able to identify it or not. So we'll update one record and we'll insert one new record. So I'm modifying my source and I'll show you what it looks like after the modification. So now what I did is for order ID 1, I have updated the product ID and I've created a new record 3 which is not available, right? Okay, so one thing we need to make sure whenever we are updating, we also need to update our modified date, because that is how it will be able to identify whether it's a change. So this time you can see the last update which I ran, I did not update the modified date, so it was exactly same. So this time I am updating it again with the modified date as well. Yes. Okay. Now one thing before we run it second time, let me show you one more thing where ID. This is for product. We are checking for order. This is order table, right? So copy. What is the name of the column? Data loading behavior settings. So I want to just take this. Why it is not coming? Okay, right. I just want to show you the values, because these are the values which will change after every run. That is something which captures your watermark. Now you see watermark column start value, which is 1122, right? I'll keep it here and then I'll re-execute. So it is completed now, and let's go ahead and check. Yeah, you can see again it has updated our first record, which is updated the product ID, and the third record is added. And you can see there is no duplicate of order ID 2, right? That means it has actually figured out which one is the updated and the new rule, right? And let's see now how our this control table value has changed. So I'm expecting that watermark value would have updated. Yeah. You can see earlier it was 2nd of October 11:20. Now it has become 11:59. So what exactly it is doing is based on the maximum data value which is available in the source, it is keeping that as a watermark. So next time what it will do, whenever we do the run, it will check any data which is existing, which is greater than this date time. It will pull that. So that is how it has made it incremental. Though I'm showing it only for one table, but exactly the same way it works for all the tables. Now let us go and check what all things it has actually kept in a control table, right? So this is a JSON which it had created. Now you see source object setting. So what it has done is it has created different set of configuration or the setting values which are all needed, right? So what all thing you need? You need a source object setting. That means what is your schema name, what is the table name, the same thing about the sync, and then copy source setting, because you may have some partitioning, right? Or you may have given a query instead of just giving a table name. So those details are here in the copy source setting. Same way the copy sync setting, whether you are doing a full load or you're doing a delta load, which we had selected earlier. See here, you can see it's an upsert, right? Then the copy activity setting, this is where it is actually doing your mapping of your columns. So all those mappings are here. Right. So the best part about this approach is that even if you have to configure something new on top of what is already given, right? You don't have to create new columns in the control table. You can actually update your JSON as well. Because I remember we had done something similar in one of our project, but we had created different columns for each values. So the problem was that whenever we were actually introducing new properties, we had to actually create new columns. So with this approach, even that can be actually fixed. You don't have to worry about new properties being ingested or created. You can actually very well modify this, and it's a JSON structure. The only thing is that when you're retrieving and when you're updating, you'll have to take care of that. So let's go ahead and quickly see how it is updating it. Now this should be here in your bottommost. You see delta load. Here what it is doing is actually it is picking the maximum value based on your timestamp and your watermark. It is doing the query. This is the final copy which is doing. So this is a source query which is dynamically creating. And at the end, store procedure. Okay, this is the store procedure which we had missed and we created later, right? So let's see what is written in the store procedure. So this is a simple update. What it says is JSON modify and data loading behavior setting. So this is the column in which our watermark resides, right? So it is picking up that column, watermark column start value, and it is updating it based on the new value which has been passed on. And let's see how it has created the source query. Okay, so this is a big one. So if you are having difficulty in understanding this, what else you can do? We have already done the execution, right? So we can go directly here and we can check. So this is showing us the previous run. So what we need to do, we have to go it from the top level. We go inside, then again go inside. This is our final execution. This is our copy activity. Yeah, so this is the query which it has actually executed. So when you replace all these values dynamically, it is going to get converted to this value. You can see the first part which says source object setting dot schema. dot JSON source object setting dot table. So this schema name and the table name will get replaced here. And which column we have given, we have configured at the beginning, right? What is our upsert column value, which is modified date, which is stored here, watermark column name. So dynamically it will actually replace these values and even the values which it has actually got it from your control table. So this really looks very good and very robust, and this is fail proof. And this may not solve all of your purpose, but this could be a starting point for you, and from here on actually you can take it further with your own customization. So yeah, that's all about it today. We may go a little more deeper, and we may actually explore some more other source and destination, because right now we have only tried with the SQL source and SQL as a destination, right? But we can see there are many other things, so we'll try to explore those as well. So thank you for watching this, and if you like it, please subscribe and comment it, like it, and share it. Thank you. Thanks a lot.